Alright, so on the Honda Odyssey, we're having problems with the sliding doors on both sides. If you pull the handle, it should slide automatically, but it doesn't. And it's also the same way on the passenger side. We have a sliding power symbol in the instrument cluster that tells us that we have body control codes. We have a B2038, which refers to this door, a B2088, which is on the passenger side. What that represents is that there's a fault with the rear latch assembly in the back area here of this door on both ends. There is a little switch that's inside this assembly, and that's what we're going to replace. Instead of spending $250 for each assembly, let's just take this assembly apart, replace that little switch. It's less than $10, and we can get this thing going at a low cost. Alright, so in order to get codes coming out of the monitor of the instrument cluster, we need to remove this panel right here to get access to these connections. So of course we're going to remove the fuse cover. Second, there is a little insert here that secures the panel. And then comes off very easy. Okay, so now this little area right here, there's two pins. We're going to connect those two together. Okay, so we have to take this handle off. We're going to use a rag and then run it through the back area of the handle. This is going to help us push the clip out a little bit so that we can get it with the pliers. And there we go. Okay, now we're going to slightly close the door a little bit. Remove the trim around the window before you take off the door panel. Remove the panel, and now we have access to the internals of the sliding door. Alright, so I removed the plastic covering, and now we can see the rear latch lock assembly here. We're going to remove the plug, disconnect the plug, remove this assembly. You'll see the cables. We have to disconnect those as well. Remember, the body control code B2038 pertains to a faulty latch here. So we're gonna remove this, disassemble it, so we can get access to that switch we're gonna replace internally inside that latch assembly. Before taking out the latch, we have to remove these three bolts. They are size 10 metric, and we're gonna slightly open up the sliding door to gain access to these bolts. Okay, so let's begin removing these bolts to see that secures the latch. Okay, so this latch right here has two cables, so a white tag and a green tag cable. Remember, well, not remember, but pay close attention to the details of the positioning. You'll notice that the cable with the green tag is the one to the top that leads to the other latch by the door handle. The white one is right underneath the green one. Okay, so I have the rear latch assembly. You can see it. Okay. We have to remove this cover first. So we have 2 screws that we have to remove. And then remove the cover. Flathead screwdriver. Just pry it out from this little nipple that's right there. Now we have access to the latch. Now I've already been working on it, so I kind of wanted to understand what I'm doing here. But this switch right here at the bottom needs to be removed. This harness is zip tied to this little opening area right here to keep everything intact. So once I remove that, I cut this outer layer of rubber that secures the harness or protects the harness, and then you have access to the switch. I cut the 2 wires off the switch, remove the screw that secures the switch, and there we go. Now this is what I want to show you. So if you're wondering why you're getting those body module codes for that Honda Odyssey, take a look. I placed the meter on ohms. I have it connected. It's a normally closed switch, so you put, I'm pushing on the switch and you can see it says OL. That means it's not making a contact. Okay, so you can see that you get a reading and it goes away. See, it's a normally closed switch, so it gets a reading, but then it'll go away right now, then it'll come back. So we're having a false connection internally inside the switch, giving the computer confusion and making a decision on that, and it won't allow to open up the doors for you automatically. So we got to replace this switch. Right here that I purchased. I got this through Amazon, and this is what the switch looks like. And we're gonna install it, but we got to remember where the normally closed section is at on the switch. Let's do that now. Get your multimeter, place it on ohms, and one is going to be common, that's the letter C, and look for the NC. Now it's very difficult to find the NC, so I didn't bring my glasses, I can't really tell, but let's do this. Right now we have a connection and we have a reading. Okay, if you can see the multimeter, and if we push on the switch, it opens. So this is a normally closed switch, so it's the outer 2 where we're going to place our wires. Okay, so I have 18 gauge wire. And I'm just gonna remove the insulation of the wires. I'm gonna redo this one again, I don't like it. Alright, now we're ready to solder. Okay, so the wires are already soldered onto the terminals of the new switch. Now I'm gonna go with a 7/64 drill bit, and I'm gonna drill a hole a little bit bigger of these, trying to make these holes a bit bigger, okay, so that I can install the screws. Unfortunately, this switch works great, but the hole's a little bit too small, so we need a little bit more clearance. I'm going to use some pliers and gently grip onto this switch and then continue drilling. Alright, went all the way through, and now drill the other side. Now we're ready to install and secure it to the latch. Okay, the original two holes on the latch are a little bit too wide for the new switch. So the original switch, if you can recall, is that it had the switch, the bolt or the screw on the left side of the switch. So I'm not gonna mess with that one. I gotta create another hole on the right side. So I'm gonna place the switch onto the latch and locate the screw. Okay, so now let's install the original screw. I want to make sure it's straight. So it's already messing with me already a little bit there, but I want to make sure this is even. Okay, now I'm going to use a drill bit just so I can drill a little mark onto the latch. Remove the switch. Okay, we're ready to install the switch back in its location. Now we're ready to install the other screw. Okay, switch is already installed, and this is the screws that I used. I went to Lowe's and purchased it, so that helped me with securing the other side of the screw. So replacing the switches on both latch assemblies took care of the problem. No more issues. So I hope this video helped you out, and good luck.